Howdy everyone, welcome back to G-Spree. Today we are looking into the Mage Forgotten support, quote-unquote, mid laner, Xerath. He's also available on ADC, and as you can see here... Oh my god, the moves! Oh my god! Let's go! Lucky. Better.
Skill.
Xerath is incredibly easy. So let's take a look at what makes him so easy, and he did just get a recent buff, which went live after most of these clips were recorded, but you can't really tell. It was a buff to his ultimate, so he has one more shot per ultimate fire, which can be helpful. I don't really see why they needed to add it personally, because he already is enough. I think if they wanted to do anything to him, it would make him more viable in just like the survivability column. But as you can see here, more ult is more good, more kills, more damage, all that good jazz. They did nerf his passive a little bit, so we can throw up the current stats up on screen right now. So this is what his passive is up to. Basically just after its cooldown, you get some mana back after attacking, and if you hit a champion, you get more mana back. So, Xerath's kit is absolutely amazing in the pure amount of just damage and control he has, but he is a very huge glass cannon. If it's not already evident in the clips you've seen so far, his damage output and his AP ratios are absolutely massive, and he just has a super low amount of health to kind of counter the effect. So if he gets jumped and if he gets stunned, he's basically just a goner. But that does not stop him from running at somebody, because you do have this amazing stun in his E. Let's throw those stats up right now. So his E is a little ball he throws out. It stuns people. It does do a little bit of damage, but it's not super prominent in his damage output. What I like to do is I like to stun. I like to W, which is this big ol' lightning strike. We can throw that stat up on screen right now. If you've got time, whatever. If you're trying to get away, you can get your way. If you're trying to do more damage, if your team is with you, you can charge up a Q. We can throw the Q stats right up now, and bang, just like that. Q is definitely one of the most recommended paths for upgrading first. I like to max out my W first personally. That's just kind of a playstyle type thing. But his Q is super strong. Charging it up, it gets a lot more range, and it definitely hits a little bit outside of its hitbox sometimes, which is a little bit of a pain if you've ever played against Xerath, and it's a reason why a lot of people hate him, I think. And then you can follow up with his ulti. We got a bunch of ulti shots at the beginning of the video here, but these are the stats for his ulti shots. And as I said during the time of this recording, a lot of these clips, they were 3 shots at level 1. Now it is 4 shots at level 1. I believe it is a max of 6. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this video. It's mostly just going to be clips and stuff from all of my Xerath compilations, while I perhaps talk about some lore. So Xerath, the Mage Ascendant. Nasus and Renekton imprisoned him after the fall of Shurima, but Nasus had to trap Renekton with him. Xerath is allied with Renekton as they spent millennia together trapped in a tomb. He drove Renekton mad over the ages and turned him into a relentless creature of pure anger. Xerath does not see Renekton as a noble hero. He represents power being granted to the few by a corrupt society. In Xerath's eyes, Renekton helped to guard the city of subjugation. Xerath later fought Nasus when the Curator of the Sands was trying to protect Sivir and Talia and the citizens of Vakura from Xerath. Everything Xerath had done prior to Ascension, heinous as his acts of murder were all done out of a twisted sense of loyalty to Azir. When that went unsatisfied, Xerath sought the power to free himself from being a slave and tear down the descendant society built on the backs of slaves. From his perspective, Xerath was punished, and injustice against the man who had promised him freedom but had never given it to him. Azir had ascended himself, and at this point was a threat to Xerath. Xerath is now hunting down Sivir, since her inheriting of Azir's royal bloodline may prove a threat to him. And according to Rise, Xerath is an abomination of magic, and that his hold over the magical powers he wields is feeble. And just a fun little tidbit we've got here is Samira's house was also destroyed by his followers. So I guess we've got a little bit of extra time, so we can go over some of his strengths and weaknesses. So obviously we've covered the fact that he is a glass cannon, and he at the end of the game has more mana than HP, depending on what you build, I guess. Typically he's going to have more mana because you just have to keep spamming his abilities to stay alive, and his abilities just keep becoming more expensive. What would you want for a laning partner? It's kind of a little bit harder to decide a lane partner as a support for Xerath, because he can kind of be all over the place. So it's really whoever you feel comfortable playing. I don't think that there is really a benefit or a drawback from just blind picking Xerath into your laner. So it definitely makes him a little bit of a setback to know that he doesn't synergize with anybody in particular, which is totally fine. Like, a lot of people don't have to, but Xerath is definitely just the kind of mage support that just does damage for the ADC, and then the ADC can kind of just pick and poke with them. Though Jhin, I would say, is one of the stronger picks. Obviously having that W that can stun off of any of Xerath's abilities, so that's definitely a boost there. And Xerath's slowing abilities and CC abilities make quick work to catch up to the opponent and have the ADC run down, finish him down. But you can run Xerath as an ADC, which is super powerful, because if you have a tank support such as a Maokai or a Blitzcrank or somebody that can lock down an opponent, Xerath can just start the stun, and then your tank goes in, does their stuns as you just get your W and your Q off, and then you just auto them. And then if you really need to do another set of abilities after they come off of CC, then bang, they're just dead because you just have so much damage. And in case you were wondering, he is viable mid lane. He's just a little bit too much of a glass cannon, so you would kind of want last pick or to kind of see what the opponent's choosing, because if they're running something like an Akali or a Zed or any type of assassin, or maybe even any type of melee champ in general like Pantheon, would not recommend going into that. I would recommend if they have something ranged like a Veigar or a Vex, then that would be a strong pick, because you kind of have to just be able to create space, and if you don't have space that you can create, then you're kind of just screwed and you're going to get jumped. And these days I don't see Xerath picked a whole lot mid lane just because the jungle game is so strong. So if you have a jungler that comes in and can just stun Xerath and pick him off, it takes 2 seconds to kill that guy. If you get jumped on early game, then it's kind of just over. If you stay strong and if you stay smart and you stay back a little bit, then you can have no problem later game, because all you got to do is just build up your items and get that AP damage down, and then hope that you have some brawlers on your team from your jungle and your top laner that can kind of tank stuff for you while you just lay out the damage. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on Xerath. It's, I guess, kind of a guide video. I am trying to improve this formula, and I'm trying to improve this type of video, so if there's anything that you guys liked, please let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and all that good stuff. Also, check out our podcast. It's in the description.
And thank you very much for watching.